We've seen in earlier videos that to start a new report, you must first connect the active sheet, and then you can start entering the member labels and keywords to build your report. However, from the Report Wizard menu, you have the option to add new reports. The new reports will be added for the active connection. The active connection being either the connection on the active worksheet or the last connection you connected to. And the first new report you can add is a basic template for starting a new report. This will add a new worksheet or use the active one if it is blank and add in some basic keywords as a starting point for a new Merlin Excel report. In the column headers it uses the @curve function with the period dimension, and notice too that in this case it also uses the @curve function with the year dimension. It's not necessary to specify the year when you're using the @curve function with the period dimension, so I'll remove it to show you the impact it has. When the @curve function is used with the period dimension on its own, then the descriptions of the year and period are displayed in the same cell. If the y#@curve is specified in the column headers, then the descriptions can be split into separate rows. This simple report contains no formatting. But the second option from the Report Wizard's Add New Report menu item allows you to add a formatted template. This template, as well as having some Excel formatting, uses most of the keywords available when you're building your report. For example, the keyword group can be used outside of the report range and is used on rows that contain the background point of view. When switching to report mode, the rows containing the group keyword are hidden, but can be expanded to display the rows, which can be useful for displaying the background point of view when printing the reports. Another report that can be added is the exchange rates report. This displays the default exchange rates as defined in the HFM settings for the average and closing rates. And if we switch to design mode, we see how it is just an enhancement of the formatted template we've just looked at. But if we switch back to report mode, we can see that there is a difference in the POV panel. Only certain dimensions are visible and therefore changeable, whereas all the other dimensions are hidden and therefore fixed. Let's go back to an earlier report to look at how to set the dimension visibility. Firstly, we need to switch to design mode. And in design mode there is an extra menu option at the top of the POV panel called Visibility, from which we can select the option to change the dimension visibility, which displays the dimension visibility form. If in our report we want to hide the custom 1 dimension from the POV panel, we first select the custom 1 dimension from the POV panel on the right, and then right-click to display the context menu. To hide a dimension in report mode, we select the Hidden option, and the custom 1 icon changes to an H to indicate that this dimension will be hidden in report mode. Then right-click on the next dimension to hide, and repeat the process for all the dimensions you don't want displayed in the POV panel when in report mode. Typically, the custom and ICP dimensions are the ones most likely to be hidden. And if you want a dimension to be visible but not changeable, you can select the Disabled option, and for the disabled dimensions the icons will change to a D. And when you close the form, we see that when in design mode the dimensions that were disabled are greyed and the dimensions set to be hidden are in blue text. But while in design mode, it's still possible to select and change any of the dimensions, whether they're hidden or disabled. Switching to report mode, the disabled dimensions cannot be selected and the hidden ones are no longer visible. You may want to hide or disable dimensions to reduce the choice that the user has and make it less confusing for them to choose the appropriate point of view. It also prevents the possibility of a user choosing an invalid point of view. If we switch back to design mode and open the Change Dimension Visibility form again, this time I'm going to select one of the visible dimensions, for example the account dimension. This time, rather than selecting the disabled or hidden options, I'm going to select one of the expansion functions. For example, descendants. And then I'm going to select a parent account in the account dimension, in this case the balance sheet account. And in doing so, we are restricting the account dimension to display only the descendants of the balance sheet. So a user will not be able to select a member from the account dimension other than a descendant of the balance sheet account. To demonstrate this, we need to go back to report mode. And now when we select the account dimension from the POV panel, we see that in the dimension tree view on the left-hand side, the user can only select a descendant from the balance sheet account. Note also that on the right-hand side, the account dimension has a pink background. This indicates that this dimension has a restriction and the full dimension is not available to be selected from. Using this functionality, you can restrict the choice available to the user so that they only select an account appropriate for the report, which can simplify things for the users. I'll have another look at this functionality. And again, we'll go into the Change Dimension Visibility form. And this time I'll select the Entity dimension. This is still a visible dimension. And this time I'm going to select the Member Lists option. And now in the dimension tree on the left, I can choose one of the HFM member lists set up for the entity dimension. This way I am restricting the entity that a user can select to be one of the members of the selected member list. Again, we have to switch back to report mode for the restrictions to apply. And now when we click on the entity dimension in the POV panel, the dimension list on the left displays only the members in the selected member list. And on the right in the POV panel, we can see the entity and account dimensions are highlighted in pink because these are the two dimensions which have restrictions and the user cannot select from the full dimension. So we've seen in this video how you can use the Change Dimension Visibility form to hide or disable dimensions and also to restrict the members within the dimension that a user can select.